Hello, loves. Welcome to Money Mindset Monday. And welcome to those of you who are new to this group. Yeah, woo, woo. I will do a special post for you guys to introduce yourselves. And today I want to talk about the importance of sharing your story. And if you're not already doing it, or if you are sharing your story, where you may, what that next level looks like. Good morning, Kimmy. So what do I mean by sharing your story? What I mean is, speaking online, speaking on live stages. Hopefully that can happen really soon for many of us. And really being able to share your story that's aligned with your purpose and aligned with speaking to your soulmate clients. So the thing is, if you're not speaking your story, you're missing out, you guys. This is a huge lead generation. What I mean by that is it's a huge way, and it's the quickest way to build your business. I have up-leveled. When I was a previous psychologist, I went around speaking my story and really closing out my programs because of speaking my story. Okay, it was the quickest way to build my practice at that next level. Okay, and so as a coach, I also do the same thing. It was the quickest way to build my coaching business, and I only was in it for part-time because I was still a psychologist part-time in private practice, and I basically replaced my income, my six-figure income, in a year, only part-time as a coach. And that was because I put myself out there and built it quickly through sharing my story. Okay, so I hope I have your attention now. If you're not sharing your story, hi Tash, hi Rupindra, hey Trina, this is deeply important. Okay, so I want you to think about this. What story would you share? Because we all have hundreds of stories we can share. All right, so which story shall we share? I'm going to start with getting really clear about who it is that you want to work with. And it's safe to say that most of us want to work with former versions of ourselves. So think about yourself on a timeline. This is you now. This is you over before. It's around the breakthrough, right? Your transformation. So think about what was happening in your timeline, and we've gone through, and I certainly hope because we're human, and if you're in here, you love personal development, you love spiritual development, you love professional development, right? It's my obsession, that we've had multiple breakthroughs. And so in this, think about which version of you in your timeline, which former version of you do you want to work with? Okay, and so with that in mind, think about what stories were happening around that version of you. Before the breakthrough, what were the pain, what were the struggles, what were the challenges during the breakthrough and after. So you can work with before, during, or after the breakthrough. Okay, the transformation. So for me, the story I love to share is, and I won't go into details right now, but I love working with the former version of me who knew there is a bigger game within me. I was creating tons of impacts as a psychologist, very much trailblazing, created the first online program in Alberta as a psychologist in Alberta, the province I live in. And from that place, it was just like, oh my gosh, I have such a huge soul mission that being in this box no longer fits. And that box, we can all relate to being in a box in some form, right? Whether it's, for me, it was being a licensed therapist, right? It just didn't fit. Now, I work with licensed psychologists. Miss Rupinder here is one of them, right? And so it's It's not about taking yourself out of your license. It's, if your dream is aligned with being a psychologist, being a licensed therapist, or a practitioner, awesome, honor that, right? Mine just didn't fit no longer. So we can put ourselves in boxes of being in this comfort zone. All of us can relate to that, right? You're in this comfort zone, and yet deep inside, there's a bigger game, and yet it's scary. And for me, that was the scariest thing I've ever done in my career, was to think about and dream about and then take action to take that leap of faith into that next level. And for me, that looks like starting a coaching business. That looks like getting over my own shit, the fear of rejection, the fear of failure, like what if this doesn't work out, having tons of responsibility as a mom and a provider to a young family. Risking disapproval from my parents. I'm Asian. Those of you who understand Asian culture, everything is related to your status, right? And your credibility. And I think in society, really, like, we can all relate to that. It's just like, oh my gosh, I don't like what's going to happen if I strip myself of this status, this title, right? Or some of you might be relating with, oh God, I don't have the credentials. I don't have the titles. Like, I don't feel like I'm smart enough, right? You can relate with that. Well, those are boxes we put ourselves in. And so that's my story that I love to share, is being able to, your story relates with your soulmate clients, right? Your soul tribe. And so it's like we can all relate to being in a box in some form or another. And then I share about how I really works through my own inner critic to take myself to that next level, and how I do that with my clients, right? And so I want you to think about what is your former version of you. And our purpose is not, I want to help other people. I want to make a difference in the world. Yes, of course you do. I know you do. You're all here because of that. But that doesn't differentiate you. What differentiates you is your purpose, is that thing that happened to you that you never want to have happen to you or anyone else again. So on a deeper level, I was operating from this belief 10, 11 years ago. And here's the thing, the story evolves, it can change, but your purpose doesn't. Okay, your why is your why, and it's related to your why in your personal life, and it bleeds into your professional life. So for me, I was unconsciously operating from this place of I am valued in my doingness, my achievements, my status, my title, how much money I was making, versus my beingness, who I am as a person. And my doingness never felt enough. So I had become this overachiever, this hardcore type A personality, is very masculine, if you can believe that. and just really like this hardcore perfectionist. God, that's exhausting. And those of you who are struggling with that or finding that challenging, or sometimes it still pops up, right? Like, come on, we're human. We can relate to that. So I learned the art of slowing down, letting go of perfectionism, learning to embrace imperfects and coming home to myself. And this is why I really love inspiring others to really operate from a place of beingness with authenticity, who you are. And you build a business based on all of you, alchemy of you, the expression of you. Because when you do that, you start to attract the opportunities, the people, the abundance that so easily. You think about it from a dating perspective. Those of you who have been dating, if you're hiding a part of you, you start to attract the wrong kind of partners, right? They don't fully fit with who you are. And so the same thing happens in business. If you're hiding some part of yourself, you're going to attract the wrong kind of clients. So this is why it's so deeply important to be and then do. So create from that place of beingness, do it from that place, and then you can have what you truly desire. Our society absolutely has it backwards. They are all about do this, right? So work really freaking hard. For me back then, 10 years ago, 11 years ago, it was diet, hardcore, restrict your food and calories, work out really hard at the gym, right? And then you'll have that perfect body, and then you'll be happy. Then you'll be worthy, right? And I know that many of us can relate with this story, this way of like have, do, have, and then be. That's backwards. It's about be, do, have. So your story needs to be authentic and needs to connect with your soulmate clients. All right. So think about, what is that pain? What are those challenges that you worked through, that you overcame? How did that? Because you specialize in that, right? You have a method that supported you to work through your challenges so that you are who you are today. You know something about that based on your experiences. And many of you went on to get certified in that method. And I certainly did, as a psychologist who struggled with food and body image. Personally, I have a master's in marriage and family, so it was certainly not working with food and body image. You can't work with your own shit when you're in it, right? So then after I healed, then I became certified in Hakomi, which is the method that really supported me in coming home to myself, as a mindfulness method that combines neuroscience, psychology, and spirituality, which totally I was not woke back then. And so I also got certified in eating psychology, right? We learn what we need to eventually teach. And that's part of our story. It's so powerful. So that is my suggestion for where to start. Those of you who don't know what story to share, where you even start, and then there's also mindset stuff like, I'm really scared to share my story because I'm scared to offend somebody. My story involves people I care about, but they are also the people that harmed me. How do I share that? Those are all great questions. Here's the thing. When you share your story, you need to share a story that you've already worked through, not something you're currently working through. Okay? If it's a huge trigger, if it's a huge, it triggers deeper trauma, no, that's not the story to share right now. All right? Work through it. And always you share your story from a personal accountability perspective. Right? Yes, these people were part of they were the actors or players in our story, but they are not the main story. You're not here to blame other people. This is about taking responsibility and from a place of, this happened and I see the gift in this situation. It's always about seeing the gifts, because as you're sharing your story, it's about sharing it in a way that shows respect to yourself and to others. You make it more about your perceptions and the limiting beliefs you were carrying, because that's always why everything is neutral until we put meaning to it. And how we do that is based on our belief system. And so with our beliefs, this is always why we need to continue doing our inner work, right? We need to continue doing our inner work so that we can come to a place of neutrality, a place of peace in our story, so that when we're sharing about the people who, we'll put it this way, who we see as part of the players who seemingly harmed us, it was actually a gift. When we truly do our work, we can see it as a gift. It's like, wow, so much freedom on that side. And now when you share your story, you are able to share it from this place of inspiring other people, of lightness, of love, and helping other people see this perspective, right? Recently, a friend of mine was sharing with me a struggle he was having. And then I said, to get to the true place of freedom, you need to forgive yourself. And I shared a story around how I could relate with that and his forgiveness. And it really made him think. And he realized this was new for him to see things this way, and how humbling it was just to have that shift. He's like, I thought forgiveness was always about the other person. I'm like, no, it's about yourself, my love, right? So when we share our stories, whether it's in your personal life, but as a business, as an entrepreneur, as a coach, somebody who is here to make a huge difference and huge impacts in this world, remember that facts tell, stories sell. All right. And so for those of you who are already telling your story, what to do next? Well, make sure that you do understand and have a talk structure so that you are sharing your story in an authentic, soulful place, but you also have the strategies and the structures it's called close the room, to basically leave with paying clients or hot leads. Okay, and then you have the business systems in the back end to nurture these hot leads to convert them into clients. Honestly, you guys, I have done a 25-minute talk, and it led to $36,000 in sales. Okay, I've done an elevator pitch. We'll call it that. I hate that word. I like to call it a soulful self-promotion statement. And it led to a $10,000 client. Okay, and so these are all strategies that I do love to share. And so I want you guys to also know, though, who supported me in this was my very first business coach, Odette Peak. And she is actually having a free 5-day challenge where you get to learn how to craft your story, learn the structure of it. So I'm going to actually pass you guys on to her 5-day challenge. I'll drop the link below so that you can join if you haven't already. I'm also going to play too, because, having a beginner's mind, no matter how you're doing, how successful you are in your business, is one of the most, I would say, successful mindsets of an entrepreneur. Because actually, this is with Odette. When I was coaching with her, I was coaching with her for 2 years. So my business is just over 3 years old, 3.5 years old. I coached with her for 2 years. And so one of my biggest blocks in the beginning was, I already know that. If I already know that, why am I not where I want to be? Hello, right? So be careful with what you're saying. If you're saying, I already know that, that's not beginner's mind. That's ego getting in the way. And then you're not allowing yourself to take in information in a new way. So you're taking it here, but you're also taking it in your heart, and you're taking it into your gut and everything. Every time you hear something, over and over again, or you read the same book over and over again, but you read it over, over a period of time. Let's say you read a book 2 years ago, now you're doing it, you're reading it again. You have evolved so much, hopefully, I know you have, that when you read that book again, you're going to take it in deeper. You're going to hear pieces or read pieces that you perhaps didn't really quite take in the first time, right? So this is why I'm excited. I'm going to be playing in the challenge with you guys. So join me. I will post a link below. Share with me any questions you have, any takeaways you got from here. I certainly hope you do. Honestly, you guys, speaking is the quickest way to build your business. It's the quickest way to get lead generations. And then I also teach people, this is one of my jams, is how to leverage social media through your story, through sharing your story as content marketing. Also, a beautiful way to grow your audience, to connect, to build that like, know, and trust factor. So I can't wait for you guys to continue playing in here. Those of you who are new, say hello. And yes, we will have an awesome time together in that challenge. And let me know what your takeaways are, any questions. All right, my loves, happy Monday.